Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and today I'm going to be sharing with you in a bonus video, because I don't usually film on Sunday, I'm going to be sharing with you two of the new Beauty Bay EYN Nude palettes. So I've got two from the collection to share with you. My reasoning behind getting these two palettes is that I now have the Berry Matte, the Berry Mix 16 colour palette, the Fiery, so those are the three that I've shared with you so far. So I've picked up those already, and then I have this one to share with you, which is the Bright Matte. So I have those already, and in fact I'll just share with you my absolute favourite from, and obviously I haven't tested the colour, the Bright Matte yet, but my favourite so far is the Berry Matte. I love it, and I'll also be giving you my reasoning behind that as well. So I've already purchased those. I've tested out the three that I've shared with you. I have the Bright Matte to share with you, and I just thought that there was a lot of, especially in the Fiery palette, a lot of the same kind of colours, and I thought it needs a nude, like a lot of base colours to go along with these palettes. Even though I absolutely love the Berry Matte. That is a standalone palette and I love it to bits. But I just felt that there was something missing from the collection. And I thought picking up some of the nude palettes you could use in conjunction with the palettes that I already have, especially the Fiery palette and the Brights. Now, of course, I'm new to Bright eyeshadow. My comfort zone is berry and nudes, so I suppose this is my comfort zone, but I also feel that what I've already purchased from Beauty Bay, these will enhance what I've already got. There's also something else that I want to mention. So basically I purchased these two palettes to enhance the collection that I already have from the Beauty Bay palettes I've already used. I also have picked up, so the two that I've picked up, I went for the EYN Nude Matte. So bearing in mind that the Berry Matte is my absolute favourite, I think this was definitely a no-brainer. So I went with the Nude Matte 9 colour palette. So I picked this one up. The packaging is the same across the board. It's this beautiful holographic packaging, purple, love it. And then inside, and it's already got fingerprints on it, even though I haven't used it, but the nude is this, like very, I don't know, again, it's holographic. You can see certainly different shades within there, even though it is a nude palette. It's matte black, just like the others that I've shared with you, and then the colouring in this is transferred all the way through the lettering, so love that. So of course you've got EYN, which stands for everything you'll need, Nude Matte, and then it tells you that it's a 9 colour palette. You're getting a net weight here of £9 at 1.4 gram of product, so 1.4 gram of product, or £9 at 0.05 ounces. On the back it tells you the name of the palette, gives you a little bit of information. This palette is of course cruelty free and vegan, as I think they all are across the board with these. Inside you get a mirror, and these are your shades. Now the reason I went with this one, and I have gone with the large one as well, the reason why, because with these larger 42 pan palettes, I have tested out the Fiery palette for you, and I felt totally overwhelmed by the shades in there. So I went with this little one so that I can create a look, and then I can mix it up with the larger palettes. And that's why I haven't actually shared with you the colour palette yet. I think, I mean, I'm not quite sure yet, but I think I'm going to have to get one of the smaller 9 pan palettes, perhaps the matte, to give me a little bit of a taster of the palette before I use the larger one, because like I said, with the Fiery palette, when I was testing that for you, I felt so overwhelmed by the 42 shades within that palette that I didn't really know what kind of look I wanted to share with you. So I think if you are a beginner, or I mean, I'm certainly not a beginner, but I certainly felt overwhelmed by it, and I felt totally in control with the Berry Matte. I felt so in control, even though the shades in there were definitely out of my comfort zone. They were particularly 2 shades in there, and I'll link the video down below to obviously share that with you. But I felt totally in control. I knew what I was doing, but with the fiery one, I just felt so, even though, you know, I'm used to those warm tones, I just felt that it was overwhelming me. I didn't know what to go for, so I went with this smaller palette from the Nudes collection, so I can use it to create a look, and then use the larger palette, which I'll share with you in a moment, to enhance this look, and use the shimmers from that one. So I think what I'm going to do with the Bright Matte palette is pick up a 9-pan matte. They're only £8, fairly inexpensive for the quality and the shades that you're getting, and then I'll be able to share that palette with you. Hence why I'm doing this a little bit, I suppose, you know, this one before the colour. That is my reason behind it. So I've picked up this one. I really love the shades in here. Of course I would. I love nudes and I love warms as well, even though I do love cool. And you've got cool in here with that grey as well as those deeper tones. So yeah, I suppose it is a bit of a mix, but it really does give me a little bit of an idea of, you know, the look to go with, I suppose. Because even though I love nudes and I love matte and I love eyeshadow, and I have been, you know, applying eyeshadow for a long time now, I think these larger palettes are just a little bit overwhelming, and certainly with that fiery palette I was. So that's my reasoning behind getting that, and then we move on to the larger palette that I picked up. So that one was £8, and then I went with this one. Again, I'll just share with you the packaging. So again, this purple holographic rainbow effect packaging, and then on the back of this you've got the very similar information. Now you only have the ingredients on the outer packaging, not the inner. You tend to have this information about you know, a little bit of information about the palette, but the ingredients are just on the outer packaging. Again, it says it's cruelty free and vegan, a lot easier to read on these larger palettes or larger packaging. And then again, exactly the same. So matte black packaging, you know, with that colourway. I think you could just about see it, there we go, on the writing there. So again, everything you'll need, nude, obviously 42 colour palette. A net weight with this one is £42 at 1.4 gram of product, and then £42 at 0.05 ounces of product. And then again, when you turn it over, you can see the same information as on the outer packaging minus the ingredients. So let's have a look at this. So I've taken out that large plastic sheet because I did pick up one, I think it was Origin, one of their first collections, one of the first palettes from their first collection, and the actual large plastic sheet damaged one of the pans. So I removed that straight away. You've got a huge mirror there, as you can see. I won't blind you with it. And then these are your nudes. So you can see what I mean. You're getting a lot of shades in here. You're getting a whole 2 top rows. The whole 2 top rows are matte, and these look like they're all shimmers. Yeah, all shimmers, and then you go into a mix here. So you can see what I mean about being a little bit overwhelming, hence why I picked up the 9-pan. I really love the collection though. I mean, don't get me wrong, the larger palettes are amazing. Just for me, and I think if you're a beginner, or in fact, I think actually Beauty Bay have thought of everything within their collections as a whole, because they have, you know, with the first collection, you had, you know, something totally different where you had, you know, rows of looks basically, and with these you've got the smaller pan palettes, or yeah, and you've got the medium, and then you've got the large. So if you are like me and think these larger palettes, really good value though, because I think this was it 23, 24, something like that. So they are such good value. I had to pick up the larger ones, but I just thought, you know, get the smaller one as well. I had such a good experience with that Berry Matte that is why I've done that. And you can see that you get so many shimmers in here that I'm certainly going to be able to use that smaller matte palette in conjunction with this one. And that is, I think, what I'm going to do with that colour palette, as I mentioned. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to swatch the whole of the mattes in the smaller palette and then do a few of the shimmers. The reason behind that, I think we'll be here all day. Obviously, I've done a long intro as it is because I really wanted to explain my thoughts on the whole collection, and I hope that it is helpful because I really was overwhelmed by that fiery palette, and I know I've mentioned it before, but it actually has put me off that palette. It's, you know, I haven't used it since, so I might have to invest in this smaller fiery palette with that as well. Yeah, okay, let's go through all of the 9 pans in the smaller nude palette. What I'm going to do is use this, keep to this one for my eye look, and then use some shimmers from the larger palette. So we've got, and I think I'll do what I've done before, 3 at a time for you. I also want to hear your thoughts on larger palettes, because I know when I said that I was overwhelmed by the fiery palette, a few of you did mention that as well. So the first shade is Nothing Else, Bare Necessity and Raw Sienna, if I can pronounce it. And then we go into the second row. I mean, I had to get these nudes. I just love nudes. It's not necessarily my comfort zone because I do love, I mean, I always say I'm out of my comfort zone, but I love all eyeshadows. We've got Cinnamon, Throwback and Slow Motion. Yeah, I mean, I love all shadows, but I suppose I'm always drawn to berries and nudes first. Right, last 3 then. I also love that they've added these grey tones. It's not something that I wear a lot of, so even though, you know, they have added a lot of nudes, obviously it's a nude collection, you've got something in there that's different as well. That one didn't swatch at all well. It's After Dark. Then we've got Throw Shade, and then I think it's, oh, Illicit, sorry. Illicit is the black shade there. So there's the nude matte for you, all swatched. I'm just going to get a wipe now because I've got the black. What I will say, if you are brand new to this collection, in my experience, none of the nudes has swatched particularly well, but the payoff on your eyes is amazing. They blend out beautifully. They have a lot of pigment. They do have a little bit of kick up. Obviously, we'll be testing it out in a moment, but if you're brand new to this collection, that is what I have found across the board. But like I say, I'm not worried about that swatching badly because, you know, like I say, it's been like that across the board. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a few shimmers to share with you, and I'm just going to switch round. And what ones am I going to choose? I think I'm going to go light to deep, hopefully. So we've got Honesty, which I have been extremely honest today about my thoughts about this collection. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. Honesty, oh, that is gorgeous. Polished. Oh. These palettes always throw up some surprises as well. So this one is Polished. Oh, just beautiful. Then we have, I think I'm going to do this one, even though I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce it correctly. Lumos. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous. Lumos. Hashtag Winning. Absolutely stunning. These are certainly swatching beautifully. So that's Winning. And then I will do First Prize. You can guess what shade that is. First Prize. I think I might have to do one more. Brown Sugar. Oh, that is outstanding. Oh, it's like a plummy brown. Oh, I love that. beautiful. This is what I mean by the collection. Every single palette, and I'll try not to jog the camera, every single palette that I have swatched so far really has thrown up so many surprises, and the shades in there, you might look at it and think one thing and then swatch it and trial it, and you know, you're given something totally different. So I really love that. Okay, now obviously we're going into the look. So what I'm going to do is just swap these about a little bit. So put the large palette there. So of course what I'm going to do is start off with the 251 Eye and Crease Contour Brush, as I always do. Just going to move my wipes. I don't have a great deal of room here, so there's always a little bit of a sorting myself out. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to put my mirror in the right position. I think what I'm going to do is, even though I have set my eye base, got a kind of a lump there, oh well, there we go. So I have set it, but I'm going to go in with quite a light shade to start off with, so that we can, you know, see how these layer basically. So I'm going in with Nothing Else, which was that first shade, and these are definitely a little bit powdery, as I mentioned before, but like I say, do not let that put you off. These are, I must say, some of the best mattes that I have ever tried. Bearing in mind that I have tried Anastasia Beverly Hills, I've tried MAC, I have tested Violet Voss, I have tested, I can't think of any more expensive brands because I don't own any more of those palettes, but across the board these are some of the best shadows that I have ever tried, and they are relatively inexpensive. Okay, so that is the base set. I'm now going to go into the next one along, Bare Necessity. So I'm going to try and layer as many of these shadows as I can. Now I know a lot of you out there love your nudes, and I think whether you're just getting into makeup, and I know a lot of you are just getting back into makeup like I did after having a long break from makeup, because obviously I was bringing up my family, I had other things to think about. I think these palettes are a really good starting off point, and obviously if you, like me, have, you know, a lot of the collection now, you can really intertwine these shades and intertwine the palettes. You know, I could lay down a matte base, or nude matte base, and then I could go to, I don't know, the fiery palette, which is what I'm hoping to do actually, to really, you know, use that fiery palette. Although I think if I get a smaller 9-pan matte palette, I think it would help me a great deal actually. So a little bit more of that shade, and popping that over here. Okay, now I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to go into Cinnamon, and I'm going to swap brushes now. So I'm going into the eye contour, so Cinnamon. So we're just building up the intensity, and I think if you, like me, are a little bit overwhelmed by those larger pans, or the larger palettes I should say, then this one really does direct you. So you start off with Nothing Else, go into Bare Necessity, Raw Sienna, I've mixed out one of those of course, went straight into Cinnamon, and you know, so on. So you know, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? And then you can get one of the larger palettes as well, or the medium, if you then want to enhance the collection. So I suppose you are sharing my journey with colour as well, because obviously I am now getting into colour, and it's I really have had a good experience, especially with the Nude Berry. Really beautiful palette. I mean, these eyeshadows, like I say, are some of the best I've ever tried. Now I'm going to pop Cinnamon underneath. I'm going to bring that down quite low. Now if you do like colour, I will be testing out the colour palette very soon. I've also got other palettes that are quite intense in colour and a lot brighter, and I will be sharing those too. Beautiful. Again, really nicely blending. What I found with these Beauty Bay palettes is that even though you're putting on, you know, I put on 3 shades already, in fact 4 I think, yeah, with that base, nothing else. It doesn't look, they all blend beautifully together. You've got no harsh lines there. Absolutely stunning. I'm going to go into Throwback, which was the very middle shade. So again, really going into as many of these shades as I can. And they do seem to, you just pop it on and it sort of blends itself. It's that good. You know, it's done basically. You hardly have to do anything with these shadows. I've never ever come across an eyeshadow that is that good. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning. Oh, we've got a delivery. Luckily my husband will answer the door this time. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that shade underneath here, the first third, like that. You can really see that this is now being built up in depth, and it's getting, you can see that depth, but also it doesn't look like I've got that many shades on. It just looks like, and it's just effortless. Yeah, effortless. Yeah, that's it. I always have a problem with that word. I think what I'm going to do now is go into one of the cooler shades, and I think I'm going to go into that shade After Dark that didn't swatch at all well, just to see how that performs. Also, when I went like that, there was no fallout whatsoever, and there is no fallout so far, none at all. So I'm going right into the crease there. Yeah, perfect. That's what I thought, because like I say, I have tested out 3 of these palettes, and every single time it's been the same. You know, if you think that they swatch very poorly, do not let that put you off, because these shadows are amazing. And at the end of the day, we don't wear shadows on our arms, it is just on our eyes, of course. Now I'm just going very lightly underneath the eye, as close to the lash line as I can, and I really am blown away by how well that those performed. So basically I have used so many of these. I think I missed out one on the top row. I've missed out Slow Motion, so 2, and then these ones here 4. So I've used 6 out of the 9 shadows to create this look, and it looks beautiful. Now is the tricky part. Although I think I know what I'm going to go with, I really want to go with that Honesty shade. Although I think I might go a little bit deeper and use Brown Sugar and then Honesty. That's what I think I'm going to do. Also, when you pop your finger into the shimmer, they don't fall to pieces. Obviously I've swatched quite a number now, and they don't, there's no fallout with them, none at all. So they are firmly pressed, but not so firm that you know, they're hard panned, not at all. Okay, so this is Brown Sugar, which was the swatch. This one here, it was like a berry brown. So let's pop that on here. Oh, that is gorgeous. The shade next to it, Icon, looks like it's a brown with green and yellow. Oh, just so beautiful. Oh, I love that. There are so many eye looks that you can get from these. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my this is the 250 pencil and powder smudge brush. It's the one that I'm using now to get right into that corner, and I'm definitely going in with Honesty. That looks beautiful, and it was this shimmer shade here. It's like a peachy pink, stunning. So let's go into the inner corner now. This is the trouble with filming at the weekend. It's so busy and so noisy. I usually film on a Friday and to do 2 videos, which is what I've done this week. But I really wanted to give you this as a bonus. I've got so much to film, so many products, that I thought I would share this with you on a Sunday. Now again, as with a number of palettes that I'm sharing with you recently, I do find that the shimmers perform better with a finger. But as I mentioned in yesterday's video, that I could wet the brush, but I never wet the brush in a testing video, because you obviously want to see how they perform. Now I'm layering it up, and as I'm layering it up, the colour, you can see the colour payoff now is pretty intense, but you just have to layer it up and just be a little bit patient with it and build it up, like I say. But yeah, very beautiful, but probably would work a little bit better with a wet brush. But like I say, with a testing video, I never do that, because you know, some of you may not like wetting your brush, and you want to know how those eyeshadows perform. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a little bit more of Brown Sugar. Take that a little bit further out. That actually matches that matte shade perfectly. And I'm just going to go back into After Dark. Just intensify that slightly. And a little bit here. Oh, that is gorgeous. It's smoky. I mean, I'm going out in a little while, so this is daytime appropriate for me. Love it. And I always like quite a heavy smokiness under the eye. It's just how I like to wear my eyeshadow. If I can get the lid off. As always, I'm using the Revolution HD Smoky Waterproof Eyeliner. I think I'm going to contact them and see if they, or just ask them if they can make more of these in different colours. And I know there was one of you in particular that said that you would like that as well. So I think I'm going to see if they are or can do that, because I love it so much. Okay, so that's the eyeliner on. Now the mascara, and of course it is, as always, the Revolution, the Mascara Revolution. I've got hair trying to get in on the mascara. And that is the look complete. Personally, I don't think there's anything boring about nude eyeshadow. I love it, and for a daytime, even nighttime look, I just think it is absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to take the dark shade out a little bit more. That's better. I just didn't take it out far enough. That's better. It matches the other side now. Yeah, I don't think there's anything boring at all with nude eyeshadow. I certainly don't think there's anything boring about this look. I think it is outstanding. I still stand by the fact that a 42 pan palette is a little bit overwhelming, especially when you're testing it out for the first time. I really recommend, if you are thinking about getting the 42 colour palette and you think you may be overwhelmed, try the matte palette that coincides with that collection as well. It really has helped me today, and I felt much more in control with the eye look today, and I think that's what I'm going to have to do with the fiery and the brights, because I am totally in love with this look. The lipstick and all the other makeup that I'm wearing will be listed down below. I hope that you've enjoyed this bonus video for this week. Obviously, I will be back tomorrow now with a brand new week of makeup for you. More reviews are coming your way, and I'm going to, I think, kick the week off with a bright eyeshadow look. So I hope that if you love bright eyeshadow, you're going to love that. Of course, for today, I would love your thoughts on the palettes that I've shared with you, the look that I've created with those palettes, and also I'd love to hear your thoughts about you know, what I have found out or what I feel is better for me, you know, using a smaller palette to start with and then use it in conjunction with the larger palettes. Also, I think that the nude collection really does enhance the rest of the eyeshadow palettes within the collection as a whole, you know, the EYN collection. And what I will say is my final little review, you can probably guess this, but the eyeshadows in these palettes are outstanding. They are, as I mentioned before, one of the best eyeshadows, if not the best, particularly the mattes, that I have ever tried. They are certainly so much better than any high-end palettes that I have tested out. They are phenomenal for the price that you pay, bearing in mind that that little palette is only £8. So I think there's something for everybody within the collection. I'm absolutely loving this, as I would, because I love nudes, but I also love all of the others as well. But yeah, I would love your thoughts on that. What do you think about this nude collection? I'm in love. I absolutely love that shade. Well, I love them all, and that shade on the lid is just beautiful. So that is my bonus video for you. Do keep the comments coming. Of course, I will be back tomorrow with a brighter eyeshadow palette for you. But yeah, until, and if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. But until tomorrow now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.